The 200th anniversary of the railways has been celebrated this weekend. Well, sort of. Huge events have been taking place around the North East to mark the opening of the Stockton and Darlington Railway in 1825, with the runs of the replica Locomotion, the first steam locomotive to haul passengers, and lots of opportunity to view the original. The railway industry has made good use of the anniversary, both to highlight the history of the industry, but also to showcase the modern railway. I was right behind the idea of celebrating a key moment in railways history. But there has been a tendency to somewhat exaggerate the importance of this little line running through the northeast of England. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying the extra coverage being given to the railways, and I have 2 books badged to mark the anniversary: a new edition of Fire and Steam, available for £20, post-free for subscribers from me, and a completely revised edition of The Iron Road, with amazing pictures which will be published as The Rise of the Railway by Dorling Kindersley next month. However, in reality, the Stockton and Darlington was not really a pioneering railway, but merely a pulling together of the existing technology, accompanied by a very clever publicity campaign. There have been numerous similar lines whose main purpose was moving coal and other minerals to waterways, built in the previous century in many places across Europe, and indeed there was a network of such wagonways across the northeast of England. These lines had used iron rails to facilitate the movement of wagons, and these were hauled either by the use of horses and donkeys or simply human beings. The Stockton Darlington's main claim to fame is that it was the first public railway to use a steam engine to haul a passenger train. However, it was not really the first to carry out... The Stockton and Darlington's main claim to fame was that it was the first railway to use a steam engine to haul a passenger train. However, it was not really the first to carry out either of these tasks. There had been several steam engines used to haul coal in the previous quarter of a century, most famously Catch Me Who Can, developed by Richard Trevithick and put on display at a site near the present Euston Station as far back as 1803. The public had already long used the Swansea and Mumbles tramway to travel along the South Wales coast, which opened in 1807. They sat in coaches, hauled on the tracks by horses, and the tramway lays claim to be the first passenger railway service. The Stockton and Darlington mostly used horses to haul the trains it carried, and it had a fairly rickety single-track line that was open to all comers prepared to put their wagons on the tracks. There was no regular timetable, and given there were few passing points, trains were often delayed when they met each other on the tracks, as there was no particular rules as to who should be given priority. The Stockton and Darlington, therefore, was merely the last of the wagonways, an invention that paved the way for the advent of the railways rather than marking its inauguration. The Stockton and Darlington was merely the last of the wagonways, an invention that paved the way for the advent of the railways rather than marking its inauguration. That would come 5 years later. The first modern railway that provided regular steam services between 2 major cities, carrying both passengers and freight, was the Liverpool and Manchester, opened in 1830. It was double-tracked throughout, there were no horses to pull trains, and it had a regular timetable service provided by the railway company, which did not allow others to use its tracks. The celebrations to mark the 200th anniversary of its opening will, hopefully, be far grander than those being held this month, as the construction of Liverpool and Manchester really highlighted the potential of the Iron Road to change people's lives.